Good morning, everyone. It's Sarah, and it's time for our live video chat. The picture that you're seeing is because we're going to talk about buttons and crochet. Well, good morning, everybody. Like I said, it's time for our live video chat. And just so everyone is clear, every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m., I try my best to have a live video chat over on the Facebook page at Posh Pooch Designs. And then after we do our live Facebook page, good morning, everyone. I see tons of people popping in. After we have our live video chat on Facebook, I always tweak it up a little bit. And then I'll shoot it over to YouTube. Now I've got an exciting video for you today. I got lots of fun things planned. Well, not lots of fun things, but fun things planned. So let's say good morning to everybody. Let me see. This has gone by so fast. Okay, let's see. Kimberly and Amanda and Tina. Susie, Stacy, another Tina. We have two Tinas. Linda, Doreen, and Dana. Rachel, Jeannie, Dawn, Crystal, Tammy, Rhonda, and I think I already said Dawn. Yes. Everybody clink in. Clink. Isn't this the cutest cup? I actually won this cup in a contest from, we did like a yarn crawl thing, and she had these cups. I think it's called Pearl On Knit 2 or something like that. And she had her homemade spun dyed yarn in balls inside this, and it was in a nice little gift bag, and I won it. Isn't that cute? And I'm using this cup today because I love Yarn Days coming up. Woo, woo, woo! We all love yarn, don't we? Well, Saturday is October 13th. I believe it's Saturday. Might be, yeah. Saturday is October 13th, and that's our I Love Yarn Day that we do every October. I think this is the 7th year if I read the information correct. And so I thought it would be fun to have a mystery yarn box giveaway. Let me show you the box. And I'm just going to let you see in the top. Ready? Turn it this way. All right, so what I've done is I've taken this medium priority box and I just stuffed it with all kinds of fun yarn. And I guess you're wondering how you can win it, right? All you have to do is comment here on the Facebook video or comment on the YouTube video. And next Monday night, like I usually do, we'll grab all those names, we'll throw it in that generator, and whatever name comes up is who the winner is. You don't have to do anything special. You don't have to answer a question or decide what kind of yarn or anything is in the box. Although, I love to know what your favorites are. That's why I always ask you. And so, anyway, that's all you have to do. Next Monday night, we'll throw that in the random generator, and on next Tuesday's video, I'll announce the winner. Isn't that exciting? I'll bring it back up again towards the end of the video so you can look at it just a little bit closer. You know I love to give away stuff. I just do. Let me put my thing down here so I can see who else has come in. Let's see. Doreen and Elisa and Kimberly and Susie. I see all of you. Janice, Christina, Terry. Look at all those wonderful names. Vicky, Cindy. Thank you all so much for tuning in and coming to watch our live video. Now, one of the questions that I get often is, how do I sew buttons on crochet? And I never thought about it much. I have a way that I do it, and it's a way that I've always sewed buttons on. I thank my grandma when I was like 4 or 5, watching her sew buttons on my grandpa's shirt. My grandpa was a history teacher in a town in Iowa called Mount Pleasant, Iowa. He was a coach. His name was Don Taft. If you go to online and put in Don Taft coach, Mount Pleasant, Iowa, he was a very well-known coach. He brought football to Mount Pleasant, and he taught history, and he was a coach for track. Anyway, I don't know why I went into all that, but my grandma used to sew his buttons on his jackets and his clothes and things, and I remember watching her sewing them on. And this is really her technique that I'm going to show you, but it works great for yarn. So let me pop down to the top cam. And if you see over here, I've got one of my hats here, one of my Halloween hats. It's a candy corn, and that pattern's out there if you want to find that. And what I use when I'm sewing on to crochet, I always use yarn. I don't use thread. A lot of people do use thread. My grandma used to have this interesting thread. It almost had a little bit of a stretch to it, and it was almost clear. It was so white. But I'm going to show you how to sew on a button that has holes in the top, and then I'm also going to show how to sew on a button where the holes on the bottom. This is called the top hat button. All right, now what I do is I try to make the yarn match the same weight of the yarn that I made the hat out of, and then I also try to match the color with the button that I'm going to sew on. And I put a nice long piece on there. That's about 18 inches. I decide where I want to put the button, and I'm going to stick it right down there. And so what I do is I come up from the bottom, and I make sure that I go through a stitch. If you go through a hole, it's just going to move around. So go through one of the stitches. Doesn't matter what stitch, whether it's crochet, single, double, triple, whatever. Make sure you just go through a stitch, and then I leave a tail, 6 or 8 inches. And then I mark it. I go through another stitch, and sometimes I'll make an X, sometimes I'll just go through just like this. And that tells me where I'm going to put my button. And it also just gives me a little loop that's just going to stay put. My grandma always made an X. She would make an X like this and then come right back up. Okay, and that just tells you that's where the button's going to go. My thread's attached well, my other piece is on the back. Okay, then we just take our button and we go through, and again, make sure that you go through a stitch and not a hole. We want the button to stay put. Now this button is decorative, and so I'm going to put 3 stitches going through the stitches, not the hole, and I'm going to do it 3 times. There's 1, and that was 2, and now I'm going to do it again. Again, making sure I go through a stitch and not a hole. There we go. And of course, you're going through the hole of the button. All right, so now I'm on the back. And what she would do, and I do the same thing, as we tie 3 knots. 1, 2, 3. All right. Then I just clip that yarn. Now, if it's going to be used for something that's going to go in and out of a buttonhole, a lot of times I'll add this. And this is the No Sew Fabric Glue by Aleene's. I bought this at Hobby Lobby for $2.99. You can also find this at Joann's. They also have it at Walmart. And I have also seen this at Hancock Fabrics. All right. And you just take it off and just put just a dab like this. Doesn't take much on that button on the back there, not the button but the nut, and you just let that dry. All right, and that's how you do it when you're just going to sew a button with holes on the top. Now if it's an X button, 4-hole button, I always make an X. I don't know why. My grandma did, so I do it. All right, so now let's talk about how to sew a button on real quick that has the loop on the bottom. So I'm going to get some yarn that matches. Okay, let's see. We want it to show up, so let's just put it over here. This will just be a fun hat with lots of buttons. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to come up under I'm going to go through a stitch, not a hole. I'm going to leave a tail of yarn. And I'm just going to mark it going through stitches where I want to put it. Okay, now don't make your X bigger than your button. This is kind of a small button, so make sure you keep that in mind. It keeps popping out of my hand. All right, so what I do is I just go through it. I'll go right back through where I went and snug that down. And then I'll do that 3 times. I'll go through the loop on the button. I'll go down through the stitches and back up. There's 2. And there's the 3rd one. And again, if it's going to be something that's going to be buttoned on and out like a buttonhole, I'll add more stitches just to make sure it stays put. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to the back. I'm going to tie 3 knots. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to clip it. And then again, just add just a little bit. Make sure that knot's going to not come out. One thing to keep in mind is when you're using this glue, if you put too much on, it dries hard, like almost like crusty. So you want to make sure if you're going to put that against your head once it's dry that it's not going to hurt. And keep that in mind when you use this glue. All right, and that's just the technique that I use when I'm sewing on a button onto something that's crochet. And I never really thought about it that much, but I've gotten a few questions about it. And some people will say, no, use thread, and there is also a clear thread that you can use as well. I just really prefer using yarn on yarn. I think it holds up better, and I think that it stays put just a little bit better. So I hope that answered your question. I'm looking through seeing the lady that asked me if she's here. I think her name was Arlene. But Arlene, I hope that that did answer your question and that helped you out. And the thing is, when you're making something that you're going to wear, like see, I've got buttons on my headband. I didn't use any of the glue. I made sure I put those 3 knots, they're on there nice and tight, because I didn't want that glue rubbing in my hair. And make sure it's dry, of course, or, you know, it'll get stuck in your hair. But also, like I said, when you're using this glue, it dries really hard and crusty. And it's supposed to do that. That way it doesn't come out when you wash it. But it can also be uncomfortable. So keep that in mind if you're like making this for a child or yourself and you don't want it rubbing against your skin or your head. All right. But this is the one I use, Aleene's No Sew Fabric Glue. All right. I've never seen one that's called a yarn glue, and the fabric glue works really, really well. You can also use SAch. That works really well too. And it kind of has the same ingredients because it dries kind of hard and crusty to keep things from fraying. So let me grab a quick drink. And those of you that haven't clinked in yet, make sure you clink in. All right, let's talk about what's new this week at Posh Pooch Designs. And I'm going to click over, see if I can see my puppies. There they are. Can you see their new bandanas? Hey, Rosie, show us your bandana. She says, whatever, Mommy. It's okay. Max is showing his off. So anyway, yesterday we did the dog bandana, and you can make it in a scary face or a happy face. Super easy to make. And I heard the kitty cats like them too. So anyway, and it has 2 sizes on the pattern. And I talk about that on the blog, yes, but also on the video. And then I also explain how to make it bigger. So that you can put it on any size dog or cat or goat or horse or whatever you want to put it on. And I really like doing the crochet bandanas because if you do them out of worsted weight yarn like Red Heart Super Saver, you can throw them right in the wash. And so if the dog gets, you know, food or dirt or whatever on it, it's no big deal. It washes right up. And it washes up great. it's a good sturdy yarn for dogs. And so that was one thing that we did yesterday. This is the scary face. Rosie has on the cute face, but anyway, that's on the blog, and also it's a new YouTube video. It's on Ravelry. Okay, and then the other thing that we did this week, we did the pumpkin pie hotbed or pot holder. I'll have to tell you a funny story. This lady, really nice lady, she sends me an email and she says, I feel so bad. And I said, why? How can I help you? What, you know, because that's all she said. So then she emailed me back and she said, I've been going through your YouTube channel and I've been marking unlike on everything, thinking that I was marking like. You know, she was putting thumbs down instead of thumbs up. So if you go over to YouTube, make sure you do the thumbs up. But you know what? I told her, I said, you know, on YouTube, they don't, when they're doing analysis, like for interaction, they don't really differentiate between a thumbs up and a thumbs down. And she's like, I don't know how to change it. I don't know how to change it. I feel so bad. I said, don't worry about it. On YouTube, they views it a thumbs up and a thumbs down the same. It's just interaction. Okay? So if that happens to you, don't worry. I thought it was the funniest thing, though. You know, because I tell you what, YouTube can be very confusing when you go over there, what to do, you know, and all of that stuff. So anyway, she loved this one. And this is just our little pot holder. Here's one that's a little bit brighter green. And it's kind of neat. You can make it out of acrylic yarn if you're just going to use it for a decoration. But if you're going to use it like to actually use as a hot pad, make sure you make it out of cotton. And another thing that you can do is you can double the center, making 2 layers, and then put the trim on, and it makes a nice thick hot pad. So that's our pumpkin pie. I called it the Happy Pumpkin Pie because I put a sweet little face on there. Isn't that cute? These are going to be hanging up in my kitchen for Thanksgiving. All right. Actually, they're good for all, like from now all the way through New Year's, I think. Anyway, so that's our happy little pumpkin pie pot holder. And that reminds me of another question I got. The lady said, maybe you should call it, don't call it a pot holder, but call it a hot pad, you know, with how, you know, with pot. I said, hey, to me, a pot is a pot you cook with. Of course, I live in Colorado, so. Missy made the candy corn dog bandanas. That's awesome. Yeah, we have a candy corn one. We have one that I did that's a pumpkin, and you can also make it look like Frankenstein. It's really cute. And I love the idea of using the bandanas because you don't, if you don't want to put a costume on your dog, because I know downtown they do trunk or treat and the cars are all lined up and all the stores are all open and people have their dogs everywhere with their kids. And a lot of times they have these like full-blown costumes on. And my dogs, they don't care. They would wear a costume. They've been wearing sweaters and costumes their whole lives. But a lot of these dogs, you look at them and they're like not liking that. Especially if it's, you know, touching their business. So bandanas are a great way to go. All right. Now, the other thing that we did were the goodie bags. And we did a goodie bag that you can make into a ghost. You see, he's scary. Here's a happy pumpkin and a happy Frank. And I called them Frank, Jack, and Boo. And then I got a question. She said, can you make those into any holidays? And I said, absolutely. You could change this and make this red with a white trim and it's Santa's bag. You know, you could make it, let's see, for Valentine's Day, you could make it pink and red, add a heart. And then he could be the love bug. So there's a lot you can do with these. They're just a basic little goodie bag. And these are already spoken for because I'm going to give them to my grandkids because I always send them a Halloween treat bag. 2 of them are in Oklahoma. 1 of them lives here. And so I'll fill them full of goodies and send them to them. So that's our patterns for this week. And that's what's going on this week at Posh Pooch Designs. You want to know more about the yarn giveaway, don't you? Okay, so just to reiterate what I was saying, Saturday, October 13 is I Love Yarn Day, and it's the day that we all celebrate yarn. So what I did is I took one of these big, medium size flat rate boxes, and I filled it with yarn. And in here, you're going to find some cotton yarn. You're going to find some fun yarn, some bright yarns, some worsted weight yarns. I think there's some chunky yarn down there. Anyway, so I stuffed it full of yarn. And I'm going to give this away next week. And I just might add some extra goodies in there. Because we love yarn, don't we? All right, so the way that you can get involved and try to win that box of yarn is you can comment here on this live video here on Facebook, or you can comment on the YouTube video when I send it over there. You can comment both places, and or one or the other. And then next Monday night, my throat's getting dry. Love my Folgers coffee today. Next Monday night, I'll grab all those names. What I do is I just copy and paste the names. And that's why I just want to remind you, if you're on YouTube and you have like an odd handle, make sure you put your name next to it. That way I can say your name if you're the winner, okay? Like if your YouTube handle is, you know, Monster125 or something, I would rather say your name than your handle kind of thing. And sometimes the generator doesn't see that as a name, and it'll kick on past it, okay? I don't know how it all works for the random generator. But anyway, what I do is I just copy and paste all the names from both places. And just so you know, that takes a while. I stick it in that random generator and the name comes up, and whoever that name is, I'll announce it next Tuesday. I'll announce it at the top of the hour, or the top of the video, and then towards the end of the video. I'll do it 2 times. That way, in case you come in towards the middle, you won't miss out. And then also, when somebody wins and you don't see them, it's a good idea to put congratulations, whoever the winner is. And I love it when you do that. Our last winner for our last calendar, which I have one more calendar that I'm going to be giving away in 3 weeks. We have this giveaway for the yarn, and then next week we'll give the winner out, and then the next week we're going to do one more of those calendar giveaways. And I really like it when you say congratulations to the person that won. And the last calendar winner was Donna, and Donna Whiting, I think her name is. And I got her, you know, I brag all the time about getting the addresses right, and that, you know, our U.S. Postal Service never messes up. Well, they don't. They never have, as far as my stuff. And I wrote her address down wrong, or I copy and pasted it down wrong when I put it in to print the label, and it came back. And so I resent it, and she got it. So, but I love it when you post a picture or let me know you got the box, okay? That way I know it got there safely. Even if you just shoot me an email, or just post it on the Posh Pooch Design page or on the video, just post, I got the box, thank you, you know, whatever. So anyway, that's what's happening this week at Posh Pooch Designs.